So I'm not gonna jump around and scream and holler and all of that, because that's just not what I do. But I'm sure as a Lin fan, you gotta be pretty ecstatic about Lin getting his first triple-double of his NBA career. And, of course I am as well. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, because, it's a big moment for Lin's career and as a Lin fan. So I just wanted to chime in and talk a little bit about that. I already wrote a post in my blog earlier, so I'll put that in the link in the description below if you want to check that out. And I'll talk about some of the same things I talked about in the post, but also we'll talk about some other things that I didn't get a chance to share in the post, since I kind of just wanted to get that one out pretty early. But anyways, just want to go through some of the stuff, just as a way of for posterity, for the sake of posterity, just to keep records and stuff. But here is the box score for the game. So Lin stats for the night: he played 29 minutes and 11 seconds. Shot 6 of 12 from field goal, 1 of 4 from 3-point, 2 of 2 from the free throw, and he got a plus minus of 19. 11 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 steals, 3 turnovers, 1 block shot, and 15 points. So I missed the game. Actually, I didn't see this game, so I can't really comment on the details of the triple double, what happened in the game and stuff. But I just wanted to talk about how historic his achievement is, and also the implications for what he did. So Jeremy Lin got this triple double coming off the bench. Lin became the first Houston Rockets player to have a triple double off the bench since a guy named Cedric Maxwell, who did it on March 31st, 1988 against Indiana. And this comparison is the most common thing that I've seen in a lot of the articles about Lin's triple-double, is this talk of Lin being the first one to do it since Maxwell in 1988. But if you dig a little bit deeper into the data, what Lin did becomes even more impressive than that. Lin got a triple-double in just 29 minutes coming off the bench. 29 minutes and 11 seconds to be exact. And a reader of my blog, Mr. Ping Pong, he posted a link in one of my posts in the comments section, which I'll include the link to that post in the comments or in the description below, so you can check it out. But I'm also providing the data here, so you can take a look. And here's the data of players who managed to get a triple-double with only 29 minutes or less of playing time. And it's no surprise that this is a very impressive list. We're talking Hall of Famers, we're talking the elites of today. There are only 16 players that have managed to get a triple-double with 29 minutes or less, and Jeremy Lin became the 17th player to do this since 1985. And they include names such as Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Jason Kidd, Shaquille O'Neal, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. Some players have achieved this feat multiple times, such as Larry Bird, who did it 3 times. So the number of times this has happened before Jeremy Lin did it in the Cavs game is 22. And the number of players who have done it before Jeremy Lin is 16. So that is impressive as it is. But if we go one step further, Lin's achievement is nearly unsurpassed. By doing what he did in the Cavs game, getting a triple-double in 29 minutes or less, coming off the bench, he's only the third player since 1985 to do this. So as you can see, here are the other two players. It's crazy, man. Lin keeps making history. Against all odds, he continues to make history, despite the way he's being misused by Kevin McHale and all of that. He still manages to make history. And it's so baffling to me how anyone could continue to think he's an average or slightly above average player. Because there's no way, some guy like that keeps continuing to break records or make history. And it seems like people already forgotten what he did during Linsanity, how he completely destroyed Hall of Famers numbers during Linsanity. And I think a lot of people might have forgotten an article by this guy Nate Silver, who's a big stat guy. I'll include the link to his article in the description below, but he provided initial analysis of what Jeremy Lin did during Linsanity only after the first few games of Linsanity. And if you read that article, you note that Nate wrote the article that he wrote only after Lin's fourth game during Linsanity. So if you recall, Lin continued his superstar streak for many more games after that. So Nate ended that article by saying that only 5 players had such a superstar, statistical streak that lasted for 6 games or longer. 4 of these players are Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Isaiah Thomas, and Dwayne Wade. The other one was a less illustrious name, Fat Lever or Lafayette Lever. So, even after that, even after Linsanity, after all that, people keep continuing to question Jeremy Lin and keep treating him as if he's an average or slightly above average player. And if you recall, Lin also made history earlier this season with 9 threes in a game against the Sixers, which, in that game that Parsons nailed 10 threes, the Rockets announcers somehow conveniently forgot completely that Lin hit 9 threes just this season. They remember Robert Horry's record, but somehow conveniently forgets Lin's record as if, whatever Lin does doesn't matter to them. So Lin got that record, of course, before Parsons broke it. But Lin is not known as a three-point shooter, and yet Lin still manages to make history in an area that he has no business of making history in. It's so crazy to me that, Lin just keeps making history and people keep continuing to question and keep continuing to treat him as some sort of average or slightly above average player or some sort of role player. Especially his coach, especially Kevin McHale. McHale still, sees Linsanity as some sort of a fluke, and he seems to have some sort of agenda, to prove to himself that he's right, that Linsanity is a fluke. But against all odds, even when he took away Lin's starting position, Lin still manages to get a fucking triple-double, and it's just so hilarious to me how McHale keeps trying to keep Lin down, and then Lin still keeps doing what he does, and still defies the odds, and he's still beating the odds, and he still has so many obstacles against him. You think Linsanity would allow him to kind of break through all of that, but no, he has so many obstacles in his way, with this Rockets team. And to me, when I look at Lin's stats with the Houston Rockets, I don't pay attention to it too much, because to me it's a misrepresentation of what Lin's really capable of. It's an underrepresentation in a lot of ways of what Lin is actually capable of. So that's why I don't really pay attention too much to Lin's stats, as long as he's still with Kevin McHale, because obviously I've beaten this horse to death, but for one, he's kind of yanked in and out of lineups, and he still hasn't been put in positions to play his game. He's still being forced to play to his weaknesses, and etc., etc., etc. No need to sort of go too deeply into this, but there's just so many things against him with this Rockets team, but yet he still manages to break records, or at least make history. And the fact that he's able to get a triple-double coming from the bench, 29 minutes or less, that should really tell you what Lin is capable of if he's actually given the proper role and given the proper amount of minutes. And even when James Harden was asked it, James Harden was like, I never was able to do it off the bench, and everyone considers James Harden a superstar. So Jeremy's able to do this off the bench. That should tell you what this guy is capable of. I mean, to me, I've always thought, since the beginning of this season, I thought Jeremy Lin is an eight assists average guy, and like at least an 18 points guy. I think he's probably capable of more than 18 points, but at least 18 points per game average. That should be his average this season, is 18 points, 8 assists. And I fully expected him to get that this season, but of course then he was yanked in and out of lineups, and I was expecting him to be doing a lot of pick and rolls with Dwight Howard, so that's where I came up with the 8 assists average, and of course that's not happening at all. I didn't expect him to get 18 points with the Houston Rockets, but I'm just saying, like, that's what he's capable of at this stage in his career. I think he's capable of more than 18 points, but I think 8 assists average is probably where Jeremy Lin should be at, somewhere around 8. I don't think it's so, but the points thing, I can see it being above 20. On pretty much any other team, Lin would be an 18 points and 8 assist guy this season. I mean, it's so crazy to me that Lin was able to get a triple-double alongside a ball-dominant guard like James Harden. Of course, I didn't see this game, so I don't know exactly how Lin was played. But James Harden is number 11, I believe, in terms of usage rate this so far this season. So to be able to pick up that amount of assists playing on the same team as a guy who has that high of a usage rate is pretty exceptional accomplishment. Just to give you a little idea of how impactful playing alongside another ball dominant guard is for your stats. Nash's assist average when he played alongside Kobe Bryant went down to 6.7, and this is Nash playing for D'Antoni, who's a coach who actually believes in Steve Nash. And before you guys say that it's because Nash is an old man or whatever, he is an old man, but guess what Nash's average was just the season prior to joining the Lakers and playing alongside a ball dominant guard like Kobe Bryant. Nash's assist average just a season before that, it was 10.7 in Phoenix. So he went from 10.7 assists to 6.7 in just 1 year, in just one season, just because he played next to a ball dominant guard. And of course he also had the injury and stuff too. But Nash was playing for D'Antoni, a coach who actually believes in him. Lin is playing alongside a ball dominant guard for a coach who doesn't believe in him. And even with Lin getting 18 points and 8 assists in the Spurs game, 18 points, 7 assists, and 7 rebounds in the Mavs game, even with those stats, I mean, Jeremy still wasn't playing the game that he's capable of. With the Houston Rockets, he's still not doing anywhere close to the amount of pick and rolls that he should be doing as the type of player that he is. So this is why I keep stressing how much his stats with the Rockets are how much they underestimate his capabilities. I think he could be sort of a threat to be like a double-double guy on pretty much any night if played correctly. And he's also a pretty good rebounder for a point guard. So, I'm not saying he's going to be a threat for a triple-double every night, because that would be crazy. But, I think he would have more opportunities to get triple-doubles in the future if he was played the way he's supposed to. And, just seeing that he was able to get that with coming off the bench with 29 minutes or less, playing in a system that doesn't favor him, I think that speaks volumes about what he's really capable of. And I don't know if Lin haters will even dare to raise this point about Cavs being easy game, but if they do, it's just ridiculous point to raise, because on any given night, good teams are playing with bad teams. So since 1985, there have only been 16 players that have managed to get a triple-double with 29 minutes or less of playing time. So that's kind of just my response to that. 16 players have done this since 1985. I'm sure there have been many easy games from 1985 until now. So even with that amount of easy games, only 16 players have done it. So don't even come around here with that shit. But I just keep coming back to the fact that to do what Jeremy Lin did with the amount of obstacles in his way, coming off of the bench, playing 29 minutes or less, and then playing for a coach who doesn't believe in him, and playing within a system that plays to his weakness rather than his strengths, all of those things, and he still manages to overcome all of those odds and get a triple-double. That to me speaks volumes about what Jeremy Lin is actually capable of. So I don't want to hear anything about his stats this season or his inconsistency or whatever. You just look at him being able to make history in his situation that he is in. If he is in a favorable situation, can you imagine what Jeremy Lin would be able to do? Of course, you don't have to imagine that. That's called insanity. We all have a record of that. That's insanity. That's what Lin would be able to do if in a favorable system. If in a neutral system, he would be an 18-8 guy. If in a favorable system, I think he'd probably still be like 8 assists, but his points would be higher. It'll probably be like north of 20, or maybe like around 20. I guess in a neutral system, his assists would be like something around 7. In a favorable system, it would be probably around 8. So to me, that's what Lin's stats should be. The haters or the doubters or whatever, they're still going to continue having their day, because Lin is still in a system that is against him. But once Lin gets into a system that's neutral or favorable, Lin haters and doubters, you guys are not going to like that. because Lin is going to put up superstar numbers. There's no doubt in my mind what Lin is capable of. He just needs the opportunity to show what he's capable of, and he hasn't been given that opportunity. But this triple-double is just a hint of what Jeremy Lin is capable of. Anyway, I've gone on long enough. Just one other thing. I have not mentioned this before in other videos, but I also have a Twitter account, and it's at Jeremy Lintel. I just started being pretty active on Twitter these days, and have found a pretty great community of Lin fans there. So follow me on Twitter, and you can join in on all of the fun that we've been having on Twitter. I'll provide a link to my Twitter in the description below, but you can always find it at the very bottom of my blog as well as on my YouTube channel page. As usual, thanks for listening. Thumbs up, thumbs down, give me the comments below, share the videos, and I will talk to you soon.